What is happening, everybody? Welcome to Off the Rails. Off the Rails, as you know, is a podcast dedicated to ending the stigma of addiction through open discussion on all things recovery related. My name is Mark, and with me always is the big homie Dave.
What's up?
Dave, you have had the most background changes.
Yeah, I've had a few.
Where are you recording to today?
I'm just at the sort of at work. The owner's place here, just watching the fort here. There's some hotel guests. So they are in town enjoying an evening, and so I'm just here in case the guests need anything. And so I'm just hanging out until they get back. Yeah.
I love it, man. How is let's dive into it, dude. How's your week been?
All right. Yeah, no, it's been good, man. Just we're a week full of work, really, and still get my workouts in. I took one day off, but I doubled up the next day, so I didn't miss anything. So workouts been good. Work has been going well. Did another LCBO run where I had to go to the back and pick up all the booze, which is okay. It was all right. And yeah, really that's been a lot of it. I did a jump in the lake, a sauna and a jump in the lake.
Ooh, is the lake so the lake's broke open?
Yeah, it broke open a little bit, so there's still some ice. Actually, no, did you get the text I sent you with the video? No, okay, because I tried to send it to you like twice, and I must not have had any service when I sent it to you because it got declined. So I'll have to send it over to you again. But
absolutely. How was that? How cold was it?
It was cold. It was cold.
Oh, yeah.
There was still, there's still like, there's basically just a section kind of broken open and the rest of it's ice. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's ice cold basically.
Yeah.
But with the sauna, it's very doable. And so it was nice to do that. I brought my bike in to get tuned up, picked that up Sunday.
Sweet.
So I should be able to get some rides in. Looking forward to that. I'm going to try to get those in the morning. You know, if I got 20, 25 minutes, I just find in the morning sometimes not quite enough time. I'm not giving myself enough time, I guess, waking up to get a good workout in. So my plan is to get some core and stretching in or a bike ride in. So like 20, 25 minutes just to kind of get that started. And yeah, man. That's about it. It's been good. It's been good over here. How about you?
Man, all aces over here, really. Feeling a little tired here today.
Yeah.
But overall, I've been having an excellent week, and
Nice.
had a couple NA meetings. Workouts have been consistent. Had first meeting for our Recovering Out Loud project with a couple members of, I guess, the public health in Newfoundland. So that went excellent. They had some suggestions that were awesome, and yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed doing that, and very passionate about it. So got started working on that project.
So for that, sorry, do you have to check? So do they want you to check in every once in a while, or how does that work, or just kind of?
It was really a great meeting, Dave. They basically explained that like they were there for anything that I needed. They were excited about the project because like no one's ever kind of proposed something like that to them. And one thing that they really wanted was, say, someone with lived experience kind of help them type thing.
Right.
And vice versa. Like they're going to be a huge help to me. And what I want is to be able to like kind of bounce ideas off them and like, I guess like ask them for help in certain areas, right? Like I want to be able to give the most accurate and proper information about their resources possible. And it would be tough to do without working with them type thing.
Right.
So they're really excited and they were great. They had great suggestions and they were very supportive. So very excited for that.
Wicked. Very cool.
Also, I got an interview coming up this week.
Ooh.
So really looking forward to that. It's with a recovery group here, and that was the one I spent a couple days with last week. So
Okay, same
this
place.
is like, yeah, this is like the official interview for it.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping it goes well, and really looking forward to get into that. There's a number of opportunities with that like organization, and yeah, it's looking up, Dave.
Shit, yeah, man.
What else? Had to go get my fingerprints taken this week.
How'd that go?
Um, it was pretty odd. It was great. Talked to the girl doing it,
It
and
was good.
I stressed about it a lot. I'm like, man, I used to be an idiot. Wonder why. Like, this is definitely why they're asking me to come in. And it might be, but who cares? I don't do anything these days. So
Yeah.
trying to give back to the world. And if giving my fingerprints to the police is what I got to do, then that's fine by me. So another thing, Dave, is Rebecca actually accepted a full-time position here in Lethbridge.
Okay.
Yes.
And that
So
is
she announced that on Monday. She accepted it. So it looks like we're calling Lethbridge home for a while.
it's not Sault Ste. Marie.
No, unfortunately not. And as much as I rag on Lethbridge, the past year here's been pretty gosh darn good.
Yeah.
So yeah, been a pretty eventful week on this end, dude.
So what's the full-time position if you don't want to say?
Yeah, I will say she is a lawyer. You might be wondering, Mark, how did you get that? How did you pull that in? And I frequently ask myself that a lot. Some would say I outkicked my coverage, and that's probably true, but I don't know. So
She's a great gal. You're a great guy. You guys are perfect.
thank you.
Perfect for each other.
That was
So
really sweet, but I wasn't always led this way. So, and she stuck by me for some reason. So, anyway, job coming up. Hopefully, get this job. So, to get prepared for it, Dave, we did some interviews this week with a couple nannies.
yes. How'd they go?
Had two ladies come in, and they were both excellent candidates. And it's a very tough decision to make because basically you're like, hey, you're going to be in charge of looking after the thing I love the most in this entire world.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a stressful decision to make.
Yeah. I could only imagine. Now, did you watch that episode of Friends I told you to watch, where Ross and Rachel?
I haven't yet, but I'm going to, and I promise you that. So yeah, we'll watch that. Maybe we'll watch that tonight.
Yeah.
And write it down.
So so obviously they give you references and you can call that at least, right? So
yeah.
I mean, like, that's a reference check.
Yeah, I had some questions for them. One of them basically is just like, do they have first aid? What's your experience with childcare? And then I would throw this one at them. What qualities do you look for the most? Or what qualities are most important to you in this industry? So for me, and then I would get into my communication spiel where being honest and communicating with us is what is very important to me, right? So Neil is going to fall down. She falls down like once a day because she's learning how to walk. Today, she fell down and bumped her head, for example. But this is something that I would like to know about, right? Rather than be like, why does she have a bruise on her head type thing?
Yeah.
Right. Like I want there to be clear communication between us and the nanny. And that's kind of what's important to me. And of course that she's like caring and kind and
all the things you would assumably want from a nanny.
Yeah.
But
Right, stressful decision, dude.
Yeah, I can see that. I
Yeah,
can see that, sure. Well, she's a, she's a very good little baby, so
thank you.
she's a doll. She's a
That's what we were
doll.
saying. We were probably a bit biased. We're like, she's pretty easy to take care of, right?
Yeah.
Sure, everyone says that about their kid, but
No, I don't know. When I was there, man, she's pretty good.
yeah, like, man, yeah, no complaints here. And who knows? I might not get that job. I think I will.
Yeah.
I hope so. So that's it for my week, Dave. That's all I had this week.
Yeah.
And, uh,
It's great. Great week.
yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, man.
Recovery's going great. Um, yeah, happy. I wouldn't have the things in my life if I was still being old Mark.
Yeah.
Um, but I did have a topic today.
Oh yeah.
Unless you have a topic that you want to go with first.
No, I have a talking point after, but I don't even know how I want to start it. So, let's go.
So starting on this Recovering Out Loud project, one of my main goals is to basically be able to share stories out loud so people can not be nervous about, reaching out and asking for help or seeking treatment or, so on and so forth. So my question for you is, when you made that decision, did the process like? And I know we've got into this before, but when you decided, fuck, I'm going to treatment, how did you go about doing it?
Yeah. So, um, I mean, for me, I guess actually I could kind of tie this into what I wanted to, the talking point where I was going to go with too is, um, I think I was really ready to finally like cut it, cut it out. Right. I was feeling, like complete shit, garbage. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired as as you often hear. And,
Mhm.
um, so I, the first people I reached out to it wasn't even my family or anything. It was someone I met through the hockey industry who I guess you could say planted a seed.
Mhm.
We talked about that as well years ago. And, I had conversation about it when I was concerned about my drinking years ago, which probably about 8 years before I ended up finally, um, getting some help. And so I reached back out to him and, we had a conversation and because I was a little apprehensive for myself of wanting to go to rehab with that stigma maybe but associated with it, and unsure if like, do I need to really go? Is there another way I can do it? So I talked to him and, um, I kind of just came to the conclusion for myself with my timing and where I was at in my life that because I had the time, I wasn't working, I had a little bit of money, saved up that I could invest in myself. And I probably could have done it another way, but I'm glad I did it the way I did it. The timing was right for me, and, so I decided to kind of take an investment in myself and just go. And whether I could have done it another way or not, rehab for me was, so far, knock on wood's been, worked for me. Um, as far as giving me the tools and things like that I never had before. But I also reached out to a buddy of mine that I found out was sober, and we had a conversation, and he did it a different way, and, he was just like, "Wow, whatever you decide to do," he was just so positive and like, so you take the first step and your life's gonna be so much different, and, um, it's gonna be so great. So that was kind of the first two prongs where I was like, okay, I want to do this. And then I kind of talked to my one sister and then my dad and my mom. And, so that's kind of how it started for me anyway. Yeah. I don't know. That was a long
That was good.
answer, but
No, yeah, it was good.
yeah. So I guess it was kind of some people it's spearheaded by others or work or whatever. I kind of, I guess, took the lead on myself, recognizing that I have an issue,
Mhm.
and I think I was really the only one that would, at that time, know. So I needed to be the one to take initiative because I lived by myself for so long and hid it from everybody that no one else really knew how bad my drinking was. So yeah,
It's a good answer.
does that answer your question, or is that just a
Oh,
long-winded?
that was perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I was reflecting about myself when I
yeah,
was thinking about it, and I was thinking about other people in my situation, and I've mentioned like where I was at in terms of like I was in a very dark place. Like I was scared. Like when I would go to sleep, I didn't want to wake up. Right, like I was ready to die. I I didn't want to live anymore, and I was so ashamed of myself that I couldn't just quit, and I would just be like only time I would experience like I didn't experience any type of happiness. I was just like a wreck and I was ready to die, to be honest. So um and I didn't like the last thing I wanted to do was be like, man, I need to go to treatment or whatever. But it was the best experience of my life. And I was experiencing like so my mental health was just completely deteriorated. So just mentioned my depression was at like the all-time worst it's ever been. I was experiencing psychosis from like long-term drug use where like I was just having like auditory and visual hallucinations, even like on the rare time I wasn't like using. I was like beyond paranoid and I just like couldn't live life like that anymore, Dave. So I wouldn't pick up the phone, man, and I wouldn't look at my phone and I like so I try to like relate to people in my position and without my family I don't think I would have made it to treatment, which is scary because I kind of put it like my sister and um my sister is my mom, my dad especially um like I put so much into their hands and I was just like, listen, like I need help. And within days they had it like lined up that I was going to fly up to Ottawa so I could detox for the 3 days and then get into treatment in Merrickville. Right. So like I I'm trying to figure out like how if I didn't have my family, how I could have made that transition from using into treatment. And it would have
yeah,
been very difficult. And that's something I'm kind of struggling with right now in terms of like people out there struggling who don't have that support system. Right.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. I think exactly what you're doing is a step in helping people.
mhm,
Getting some education out there on what the options are.
yeah.
Um, so hopefully that can reach someone that maybe doesn't have a family or a big family or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. It's good. It's a good point. I mean, the biggest thing too is like there's people that also have family. Like you were ready, right? You
Yeah.
were,
To me, I looked at it, Dave, like it's either take this chance at treatment or die.
yeah,
Right. Like there's, yeah. So I was
yeah.
ready.
So
I was sick of it. I would have done anything there. Like I would have done anything to start getting better.
yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Like you can have, there's people I'm sure that have big families or that are give them all the tools and give them all the resources that also
Mhm.
aren't ready to either admit they have an issue or whatever the case, not just don't want to give it up, right? Too. So um you were lucky that you have your family that helped you, point you in the right direction, but also you were ready to receive that information and kind of take it and run with it and do what you can, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, like if you don't have family and stuff like that, there does get a little bit more, little trickier. But hopefully, family is also like, hopefully maybe, you got some people that are close to you that are good friends that you can call your family. Like I have good friends like yourself that I consider family nowadays.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be like blood family. If you're, and I think it's important for people to recognize that if you know someone and you're the closest thing to them, they don't have the blood relatives to kind of help them, whether they live in different cities or countries or they just don't exist. You can make a big difference in that person's life, and if they can get their hands on something like what you're doing, I think that's huge, right?
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I had to get that off my chest. I was a little just thinking about it and just like kind of bothering me. So I was like, great topic for off the rails today.
yeah, yeah. Because I have a friend that, fortunately, her longtime boyfriend is having going through some difficulties right now. Um, so and I don't know why it came in my head, but I was thinking about just the fact of how important it is that like you need to be doing it for you, right? Like to getting better. Like yes, there's obviously some things that can motivate you into why you're doing it, but really I think at the deep root of it is you got to be ready and doing it for yourself. And you got to be ready because I just think about, remember we were walking around Merrickville the one night, walking down the streets on that Devil's Night at Halloween. There's pubs around. If I was doing it because work sent me or I had to go, like there's no reason why I would have just walked in one of those pubs and got drunk, or at least had a couple, and gone back. But the fact I was able to stay out of it was probably large part because I was there for myself, to get better, right? So I think you have to finally hit that point as well, and everyone's kind of point is different on where they get to. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be like the darkest place in the world. In fact, I encourage people to not hopefully get to that point, so.
No. Yeah, I like the phrase rock bottom is wherever you stop digging.
That's good. I like that.
One.
Yeah.
So pick up the shovel, stop digging.
Yeah.
Type thing. That's well
That's
said.
good. That's a good one. And that's perfect for early on in these episodes. We had that conversation. I don't remember how it was worded exactly, but remember we talked about kind of like that whole rock bottom thing.
Mm-hmm.
And could have used that analogy back then. That was good. That just summed it up. That sums it up right there.
Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah, well said.
Dave, so what was your question?
I don't know.
We ready to wrap this episode up? I had a blast.
I don't know. It was so much a question. It's more of a talking point of. I had thought about that, about us walking around the streets of Merrickville, and what was it that, stopped maybe us or one of, like, whatever, that feeling of going into the pub. As much as I remember walking by and looking through the window and seeing how good a pint of beer looked and all that.
Yeah, I remember fucking seeing the
tap. Yeah. So I don't know. I just had that thought in my head, and I figured we could kind of talk about it a little bit. But
I think we had a really great group too, man.
Yeah,
I would imagine most treatment centers say that, but I think we got along like spectacular. Like we still bros, right? My fucking best buddy, and right. I think having that support group around you is crucial too, man. It would only take like fucking two minds to be like, let's go in there.
Yeah.
Right. So, but you're right. You absolutely got to be ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
All right.
I'm gonna think about that tonight. All right. If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out and ask for help. Myself and Dave will do whatever we can. And guys, please like, subscribe, share, and let us know what you think about the episode. Have a great week.